Hi, it's Jodie and welcome to another video. So today is a very exciting video. Today is going to be my October autumnal TBR. Now this is something I've been stressing over for like a month or two now, because I had about 30 plus books on my TBR for October. There were so many books I wanted to add on here and I've narrowed it down to I think 13, which is still a lot, and I'm probably not going to read all 13, but here we are. I do have a huge pile of other books that I was considering for my October TBR that are all really spooky and really like Halloween-y kind of reads that haven't made it, so I'm going to film a separate video for those as well, so keep an eye out for that. But today is my October TBR. I'm so excited, also very scared because I do want to get through a lot in October and I have a couple of buddy reads, and yeah, there's a lot of reading to be done in October. So if you would like to see what books are on my October TBR, then please keep watching. They are all going to be really autumnal, spooky, just the perfect reads for this time of year. So if you are looking for some good spooky books and just some books to read during October that'll get you in like the autumnal festive mood, then definitely stick around and see what books are on this video, because I think there might be one or two that people might be interested in reading. I don't even know how I'm going to pick them all up because it's just so heavy, and the worrying thing is some of these books are very big as well. So let's see if I can get them all in one shot. So this is my October TBR. As you can see, very big, and some very big books are in it. I'm going to start from the top because it's just going to be easier. This is actually my current read, but I'm including it because I plan to read and finish it in October. So this is The Forest of Moon and Sword, which I will have mentioned in a vlog that should be up before this video, but I was kindly sent this by the publisher, and this actually doesn't come out till January next year, so obviously it's not one I can recommend for people to read now, but it is perfect for this time of year, and I can already tell I'm going to highly recommend this when it does come out. So this is actually a middle grade, and this follows a daughter who is trying to save her mother's life as her mother has been arrested and taken away to be murdered for witchcraft. And this basically just follows Art, who basically embarks on this journey to try and save her mother's life. This is all about the witch trials that happened in the 1600s, because this is when this is set, and it's set in England and Scotland. Yeah, I'm just really excited. I'm loving it already. It's so good. I'm only 50 pages in. This is just perfect for this time of year because it's witchy, and yeah, highly recommend it already. But obviously it's not out till January, so I am sorry for including it, but I wanted to include it because I am reading it and I am going to finish it in October. So that is the first one. I will leave it linked down below if you want to find out some information about it. Definitely think it's going to be worth pre-ordering because yeah, it's so good. Next is a book I'm already currently reading and will have featured in a couple of vlogs that you may have already watched. But that is A Discovery of Witches. I'm not going to go into what this is about or anything because I will have talked about it in those vlogs. But this is just one that I am doing the real-time readathon for. So this readathon takes place all through October up until the 1st of November. So of course this is on my TBR because I'll be reading it all month. But I don't think you could find a more perfect series than Discovery of Witches to read in October. There's witches, there's vampires, there's demons, there's magic, there's everything in here. I think it's just like a perfect series to read in October, and I'm almost 100 pages in now and I'm absolutely loving it, and it's giving me a spooky vibe, so I think this one is a really good pick for October. So if you are debating it or you're looking for a witchy book, then maybe go for this one. This is another book I think I might have featured in a haul, but this is one I actually bought recently and it was the cover that mainly attracted me, and this is called The Twisted Tree, and this is by Rachel Berg, and it says on the front, "You can't hide from the darkness." Now as soon as I read that I was like, this book looks so good for Halloween. I plan on trying to do a lot of reading this month. And this follows Martha. Now Martha has this very kind of weird, almost psychic ability, in the sense of that whenever she touches like someone's personal items, like their clothes or materials or something like that, she like absorbs like things to do with that person, and like emotions and memories and all these kinds of things. And this didn't start happening until she fell from this tree, and ever since she fell from this tree she's been able to do these things, and she really wants to find answers as to why this happened. So she sets off on this little journey to go to her grandmother to try and find out how this happened. When she gets to her grandmother's, she finds that her grandmother's actually dead, and this random strange boy is in her grandma's house. So yeah. And it says at the bottom, "Then the spinning wheel starts creaking, terror creeps in and Martha is faced with an impossible decision. When the fog rises, run for home, my child, dead men rise with the mist." So this just sounds so creepy and eerie. It doesn't give away massively what this is about, but I think this is going to be kind of like a supernatural, paranormal kind of thriller almost, with like obviously lots of eerie, creepy, spooky vibes, which is what you want in Halloween. So yeah, I'm very, very excited for this one. It's not too long and I just love the cover. I think it's so spooky, and yeah, this is just going to be a really, really fun one, I think, for October. So next is a manga. So I am trying to try out manga. I haven't read any manga yet, so this might actually be the first one that I do actually read. I thought this was so fitting for October. So this is Vampire Night. Obviously this involves vampires. This is set in Cross Academy, and you have the day class and the night class. The night class are vampires, the day class aren't. And then there are guardians of the school who protect the day class from the night class, which is like a secret that they're all vampires. And one of the guardians was actually attacked 10 years ago by vampires, and she's been adopted by the headmaster, and she believes that humans and vampires can coexist peacefully. Her partner has other ideas that who's the other guardian. So this just sounds really, really good. I'm really excited because it's got vampires in it, and it will be my first manga, and I've heard really good things about this one, so I thought I'd add it to my TBR. So the next book on my TBR is a classic that I've just never read, and I've not even seen the movie. Don't know if I'll watch the movie first or read the book, and I'm not 100% sure that I will get to it this month, but I feel like now is the perfect time to pick this up and read it. That is Interview with a Vampire by Anne Rice. So I don't think I really need to explain what this one's about, because I feel like everyone has either read this or has heard of this book and knows what it's about. I never read it. All I know is that it's got Lestat, I believe. I think his name's Lestat anyway, but I just know that it follows a vampire, and I know that Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise are in the movie. And yeah, this just follows a vampire and his journey and his life of being a vampire and all the challenges he faces. And that's pretty much all I know about it. I just think it'd be a really fun one to read because it's vampires. I love vampires. I think I might listen to this on audio, but I'm not 100% sure if I will get to it. We shall see. But I love the cover. It's so gothic looking. And this is like kind of gothic literature from what I believe, and I really like that, and I would like to read more of it. So I've put this on my TBR because I feel like I kind of have to. So next up is a book that's actually on my TBR for October because it is a buddy read. So I will be reading this with Charles and Jodie. I will link both their Instagram accounts below. We are doing a buddy read of 2 books, being very, very ambitious with these because they are 2 fairly large books. Hopefully we finish them in October, but I just don't know. But the first one is Elantris by Sanderson. So I've talked about this in one of my other vlogs. Quite excited for this one. I'd never really looked into it before, and I think the main reason this one was chosen was because it had a really like autumnal looking cover. So it's not necessarily a spooky kind of story, but it is a fantasy that I think will be really gripping and kind of perfect to cozy up with a cup of tea on a cold day and just like snuggle up and just delve into, and I'm really excited for that. It's like one of the best things to do in autumn. I'm really, really excited for this one. I will have it linked down below if you're interested in it, because I actually don't know that much about it, and I'm gonna leave it that way. I kind of just want to go into it without knowing anything. I've not read any Sanderson before. I've had a couple of his books on my previous TBRs and never got around to them, so this will be my first one, and I am pretty excited for it because I'm excited to see what his writing style is like. And yeah, so I will be buddy reading this one. So next we have 2 Neil Gaiman books, and I just felt like these were absolutely perfect for October. Of course I've added them to my TBR, so I don't know if these are kind of, I think they're aimed towards teen, but they probably are like the low end of teen, and I know one of them's a movie. I don't know if the other one is, but I've only ever watched half of the movie because I'm going to read the book first, I think. I don't know. I plan to watch this movie this month as well, but that is Coraline and The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman. So these are just 2 really spooky stories that I think are just perfect for this time of year. So the covers as well, I absolutely adore the covers. Like, look how nice the covers are. But I'm not going to go into what these are about because I feel like everyone kind of knows what Coraline is, and The Graveyard Book's just one of those. It's always been floating about. Yeah, they're both just really spooky, and they have like cool illustrations inside. Like, it's so spooky and I love it. Yeah, it's just so cool. I love Neil Gaiman's kind of art style. Well, not Neil Gaiman's, Chris Riddell, I think is how you say his name. Yeah, Chris Riddell's art style. I love it. Very, very excited for those 2 because I've never read any Neil Gaiman books either, so it will be really fun to kind of test them out. So the next book is one that I'm really, really excited for. I recently read the first book. You will have seen it in my vlog, and I absolutely loved it. I gave it 5 stars, but obviously I was going to add the sequel. That is The Damned by Renee Ahdieh, and I'm just so excited for this book. The Beautiful kind of ends, not necessarily on a cliffhanger, but it's kind of hard to tell what direction the story's going in. It's the misconception with The Beautiful. It is not necessarily a vampire book, it is a book that contains vampires. So the main character is not a vampire, and it's not like your typical vampire book. Vampires just exist in this book, and they do have a role to play within the plot, but it's not solely about vampires, which is what I really liked, because it's really, really fun to read a book where just vampires exist but they don't take up the whole story. So I love The Beautiful, so good, but obviously it's got your vampires in it, so that automatically makes this the perfect kind of book to read in October. But it's also written with a very kind of like gothic writing style, and it's very like descriptive and eerie and atmospheric, and everything's really dark and creepy, and I just loved it when I read it. Like, it was amazing. So The Damned I am extremely excited for. But this follows Celine again. Basically The Beautiful ends with Celine waking up and she doesn't remember what happened in the first book, and then we don't really know what happened to Sebastian. So Sebastian now, from what I understand from the synopsis of here, is cursed, and Celine's having these troubling nightmares. She can't really remember anything, and now this huge chain of events is set in motion and everything's just gonna go up in the air again. So yeah, that's pretty much the general synopsis. I don't want to go into detail too much, because if you haven't read The Beautiful, then obviously spoilers. I will have this link down below. I will also link The Beautiful. I highly recommend The Beautiful, by the way, so obviously if you've read The Beautiful, then this would be great to read this month. So excited. I love the writing style, and like I said, it's really gothic and I love that. I think I'll be picking this one up first probably, because I literally just finished The Beautiful, and obviously I really, really want to know what happens. And look at that cover. Perfect, we love it. So yeah, really excited. And this next book is a book I've been meaning to get to for the longest time. I read the first book about 4 years ago, so that was a long time ago. I absolutely adored it. I gave it 5 stars. I remember I couldn't put it down, and I wrote a massive review. It was like my first big book review I ever did as well, and I read it when I went away to the Lake District, and it was so nice. And I just adored it, and I was so excited to pick up the next book. And then there was such like a long wait. I can't remember if it was the publication date or just when I was able to buy it. There was a massive wait in between, and then I just didn't end up picking up the sequel. I bought it but just didn't read it, and then I bought the rest of the books in the series, and I have them all, but I've still not read them all, and I know I will love them. I absolutely love the first one. But I will link my review for the book down below that I have read if you are interested in reading it. But the book that I'm talking about is the second book in a series, and that is Hunting Prince Dracula by Carrie Maniscalco. So Stalking Jack the Ripper was the book I was talking about. I loved it, I adored it, it was amazing. So I'm really excited for this one, because not only does it follow Thomas Cresswell and Audrey Rose, it has Dracula. So yeah, this is such an obvious one to add on to my October TBR. It's the second book in a series that I really want to read and haven't yet read. So it's set in the Victorian period, which I really love books set in that period because they're always really gothic, and Stalking Jack the Ripper certainly was, and Audrey Rose is kind of gothic by nature in terms of she's really into things that a lady would not be into in the Victorian period. But yeah, I'm really excited because I always want to see what happens with the romance between the two, if it goes anywhere, and obviously I love the characters. I love all the elements of this book, and I'm just very excited to see where it goes. But in this book, Audrey Rose has fled London after the terrifying and horrifying events of the first book, Stalking Jack the Ripper, where the identity of Jack the Ripper was revealed. So she goes to enroll as the only female student in this really prestigious forensic school, and this school is in a dark, like creepy Romanian castle in the middle of nowhere, and this castle once belonged to Vlad the Impaler, which is Dracula. That's obviously really unnerving. And then there is a man who's been impaled by a sharp wooden stake, and someone drained of all the blood, and there's a note saying like Prince Dracula's back, basically. So basically Audrey and Thomas then try to unravel all these cryptic clues to figure out who's committing all these like murders, and is Dracula really back. So this just sounds so fun, so creepy, and yeah, I'm really excited for this one. It'll be nice to finally pick up this book and hopefully read the rest of the series. Next is a book you've all seen on my TBR one too many times now. It's getting quite bad how many times I've added this to my TBR, and I really hope this is the last time. There's no reason why I'm putting this book off, I just never get to it. But I feel like this is a really good one to have because it has kind of like supernatural vibes to it. It's Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I am not going to repeat what this book is about for the millionth time, and I think a lot of people already know, but this has those supernatural vibes. It has secret societies and has a girl dealing with trauma in her past, and yeah, I really do want to read this. I really hope this is the time I'm going to read this, and I am adding it to my October TBR in the hopes that a good old like kind of murder mystery supernaturally in a school kind of vibey book will finally be read. And yeah, I'm really excited for it anyway, and maybe October will finally be the month for this one. Maybe that's what I've been waiting for all along, is October. Next is the biggest book in this TBR. I'm a bit frightened of this book because of how big it is. It's one I've wanted to read for so long. It has so many great reviews. It's a really well loved fantasy book and I do really want to read it, but it's just the size has always put me off, which is really bad. I mean, I've read a lot of long books before. I've read 3 of the Outlander books, which are like over 1,000 pages. But I do want to physically read this book. Usually with really big books, I'll listen to them on audio because it breaks it up and it makes it easier. But I really would like to try to physically read this. So I might switch between the audio and physically reading it. But this is one of the books I am buddy reading with Charlotte and Jodie, and I am super excited. We're going to start it on October the 1st, and it's going to be like a no pressure buddy read. So we'll just see how we do. I mean, it is very intimidating, but that is Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. So again, not necessarily autumnal, but it's one of those books that you'll just want to curl up with and have a cup of tea, get snuggled down, get stuck into it and just get lost in the world of it, which is why I'm so excited to read it. But it is a very big book. So this book is, I think it's like 800 pages long or something. But it says, a world divided, a queendom without an heir, an ancient enemy awakens. This follows Queen Sabrin the Ninth, and she has to conceive a daughter to protect her realm from destruction, but assassins are creeping closer to her door. Edduran is an outsider at court. Though she has risen to the position of lady-in-waiting, she is loyal to a hidden society of mages. Ede keeps a watchful eye on Sabrin, secretly protecting her with forbidden magic. Across the dark sea, Tane has trained to be a dragon rider since she was a child, but is forced to make a choice that could see her life unravel. Meanwhile, the divided east and west refuse to parley, and forces of chaos are rising from their sleep. So this follows a lot of badass females, basically. Sorry if I pronounce the names wrong. We all know I'm horrendous at pronouncing names. My battery is flashing at me. This is making me very anxious. My camera's gonna die. It's a really good high fantasy, and I'm just very excited for it. I will link it down below so you can get a better feel for what it's about. But yeah, basically it's just a really cool book and I'm really excited for it. It's just very big. And lastly, hopefully before my camera dies and these books fall on top of me, is Monstrous. So this is a graphic novel and this will be a reread. I read this a few years ago and I can't really remember it and I really want to reread it. Monstrous is just, it's exactly how it sounds and it's futuristic steampunky vibes, and I will have it linked below so you can properly read the synopsis, but I can't remember it and I'm very excited to give it a reread and get another graphic novel in there. Yeah, that's the last thing on my TBR. I hope you enjoyed this video and some of these books give you some inspiration. There were so many I wanted to add but couldn't because, as you can see, I have a lot of reading planned for the month. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe if you'd like to. I'll have everything linked in the description box and I'll see you guys soon. Bye!